Hey guys, my name is Dalton Klein, and this is my first devlog. This dev series is going to be about a multiplayer game that I am solo developing called Bloodland Mobile. It's going to cover how I went from starting out in UE4, knowing nothing as just a hobby on top of a full-time job, to hopefully by the end of the series releasing a viable multiplayer game. To quickly touch on my background, my dev experience started about 4 years ago when I happened to be playing old school RuneScape, like some of us did, and I woke up one morning to my main account being banned due to botting. I was pissed. I didn't know what to do. I thought about starting a whole new account, but instead I said fuck Jagex and I downloaded Unreal Engine. I immediately began familiarizing myself with the engine, just learning as much as I could, and just diving into, multiplayer replication, the whole server to client logic, and just absorbing as much as I could while working on an MMO project. It didn't take me long to realize that an MMO project probably isn't feasible for a brand new developer to solo develop from start to finish. So, after a couple years of learning it as a hobby, I decided, I want to start a project that I know I can finish on my own, and is, just a little bit smaller in scope, but I didn't want to give up the multiplayer aspect, right? So I started a new project about 8 months ago, and then I just got to work. So what my initial plan for the game is to build a multiplayer game completely around spellcasting. That's what I enjoyed developing the most in the MMO project, and I really thought I could make a sharp modular spellcasting system, and I even thought I could make it possibly work for mobile too, right? I could, instead of using really high poly art, I could find some more low poly art on the marketplace, and then even try to make the game cross-platform compatible. So that's what Bloodland Mobile is. I wanted it to be a team fighting strategy game based on spellcasting, where you can log into your account from your phone or your PC or your Mac and pick up right from where you left off. So I could probably make 100 episodes just on these first 8 months because of how much I struggled through things. But instead, I think I'm going to spend maybe 1 or 2 segments of this series covering everything I've done up to now. And then what I'm going to do after that is just cover whatever issue I'm currently working on, currently tackling. I'll record everything I do in the engine from now on. And then what I'm excited about is to cover these later stages of development. Since I do have a working prototype at the moment, we'll get to see how I go about releasing this game on the App Store, how I go about finishing off the beta testing, how I go about pushing out updates to all the platforms I intend to release to, and then, taking feedback from the community, feedback from the players to fix bugs, to kind of handle that. So this dev series will cover all sorts of stuff like that. So if you've ever been interested in what it would take to, release and develop as an indie developer an online multiplayer game with like a proper backend system and dedicated servers, my series is definitely going to touch on this. So I'm using Amazon Web Services for my dedicated server system, and then for the backend, I kind of built a custom login, authentication, and storage system based on SQL databases and then PHP scripts to kind of control that. And I know PHP might be a little bit outdated at this point, but I had a buddy that was willing to give me a really solid crash course in PHP, so I decided to take him up on that instead of, learning like Ruby on Rails all on my own, which would have taken a lot longer. So with the rest of my time for this video, I'm just going to cover what I ran into the first few weeks of development, and then we'll move on to the later stuff next segment. So like week 1, what was I trying to do? Most indie devs get really excited about right away jumping into the movement, the camera system, whatever your core mechanic is to your game, starting right on that to get a working prototype up as fast as possible. But for me, I was more interested in testing the feasibility of the project in the online sense, right? I wanted my game to be cross-platform compatible, and I had never made a cross-platform game, so I went right away into trying to get different types of devices in the same real-time multiplayer lobby, right? So what I started with is getting my developer licenses for mobile. I set it all up with Apple first, got everything plugged into the engine, like my certificates and everything. And then I was able to package a game for iOS. I also had a buddy that was willing to help test this theory of mine with Android devices, so I also packaged a blank third-person template project, or nearly blank, with the only ability to join a listen server or start a listen server. And so I packaged out this bare bones project for all different types of devices, and we went to work testing. After some troubleshooting and realizing that the online subsystem needs to be set to null for all different types of devices, once we got that consistent, we were able to host lobbies on both Mac and PC and accept connections from all different types of devices, which was really cool. I think I read every forum on this issue before I was able to troubleshoot that and figure it all out. But after a few weeks being able to get cross-platform lobbies up and running, that was good enough for me. And then I was able to start designing how my game was going to look and feel, especially on mobile, and how it was going to work on PC so that one platform didn't have an advantage over the other. I had that in mind from the very beginning of the game, which I think was pretty exciting. So I decided on a virtual joystick system to move the characters on mobile, the left joystick being what moves the character, and then the right joystick being what moves the camera around. And I decided on a third-person camera system, but it also can kind of double as a top-down. Maybe you don't want to move the camera around as much on mobile, so while you're moving the character with your left thumb, you're throwing spells with your right thumb. So that about covers it for the first video. I want to keep these videos short in nature, and so next time, hopefully we can get caught up to speed to where I'm at in development right now. If you are interested in the project, or you have any feedback on where I should take things, I would absolutely love the feedback, so feel free to leave a comment below or join my Discord that I've left in the description. Until next time, peace out.